It was a night of hot tempers and heightened emotions here in the U.S. That's where town hall events hosted by Washington lawmakers put them face to face with the voters they represent. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley fielded questions in Iowa about a man from Maine mistakenly deported to El Salvador.
Are you going to bring that guy back from El Salvador?
Yeah.
Are you? Yeah. Why not?
Well, because that's not a power of Congress.
Supreme Court said to bring him back.
We would like to know what you, as the people, the Congress, who are supposed to rein in this dictator, what are you going to do about it? These people have been sentenced to life imprisonment in a foreign country with no due process. Our government cannot do anything.
Now, Grassley is known for visiting all 99 counties in Iowa every year and says that his office has received more emails so far in 2025 than all of last year. Voters questioned his support of President Donald Trump and apparently weren't happy with the response.
If you're proud of voting for Trump and what he's doing in office, are you proud of everything he's doing right now?
There's no president that I've agreed with 100%.
I didn't say that.
Meanwhile, in Georgia, a town hall hosted by Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene turned violent after an altercation between a police officer and an attendee. Here's what CNN's crew saw. So what you're watching there is CNN crews witnessing police use a stun gun on at least two men after they refused to leave the event. Both men and another woman were arrested. Police say that officers used force that was, quote, necessary to gain compliance and control the situation. At least 11 more town halls are set to happen across the country tonight. Reed Binion now has more details on what lawmakers hope to accomplish on Tuesday.
Tempers flared as Washington lawmakers faced constituents at town halls on Tuesday. Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene was interrupted several times by protesters at her town hall in Georgia, with police forcibly removing people from the event, arresting 3 individuals and using stun guns in 2 instances. Greene dismissed the interruptions and moved on.
Thank you to our great police officers.
She displayed some critical constituent questions about the Trump administration on a projector, reading them out loud, and responding in at least one case by pushing back.
Unfortunately, you're being brainwashed by the news that you're watching. A lot of Democrats pride themselves on being educated, and I suggest they educate themselves better.
In Iowa, Republican Senator Chuck Grassley took a different tack, mostly listening to concerns about the Trump administration.
I'm trying to recapture the constitutional authority of Article 1, Section 8, one of the 18 powers of Congress.
Democrats also faced pressure from constituents Tuesday, listening to criticism that they're not fighting hard enough to combat Trump and Republicans.
I hear the criticism that we're not doing enough. I'm never going to lie to somebody as a politician. I can't do things in the minority that I think people wish I could do. So I'm doing what I can do.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Town halls gone wild, complete with scrums and stun guns. That was the scene at an event for Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene in suburban Atlanta. Police arrested 3 people. They did use stun guns on 2 of them. Now, Greene did not take questions face to face. Instead, questions had to be submitted in writing, and she mocked anything that was critical. Protesters erupted her several times.
Ladies and gentlemen, they're all inside the interior of the United States.
How about the KKK?
All inside the interior of the United States. We can head out. The protest is outside. Thank you very much. Protest is outside.
You bunch-bunny bigot! You bunch-bunny bigot!
Protest is outside. Bye. Have fun out there.
All right, let's get ready to see. And it's Eva McCann who's been covering these town halls across the country. Eva.
John, it was true to form for the far-right ally of President Trump as she sparred with her own constituents. She pushed back on tough questions, accused Georgians of being brainwashed. Now, it was clear Greene relished this. Republican leadership has advised against holding these types of town halls to avoid these episodes. But what we saw last night was Greene very much looking for a fight. Listen to how she responded to a constituent concern about cuts to the federal government.
Doge gutting our government with a chainsaw approach and the utter destruction and ignoring of our Constitution and rule of law. He is not well physically or mentally. Poor Christina. Poor Christina. Well, I'm sure, Christina, you think that you're pretty smart. But the reality is you are being completely brainwashed by whatever source of news you listen to.
So you could see the Congresswoman reading there because she decided to do it that way and not actually answer questions in real time. Now, in at least 2 instances, our crew on the ground witnessed officers using stun guns after scrums with male attendees as they tried to remove them from the building. Meanwhile, a town hall with Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley also got testy yesterday. His constituents thanked him for being there and not hiding from them, but they raised concerns about immigrants being rounded up and railroaded in this moment and potential cuts to vital services for veterans. John?
And what are members hearing about tariffs around the country, Eva? Because that is also a subject that's coming up.
There is a lot of concern, especially for the vitality of some of these small businesses. You heard a lot of farmers question Grassley last night, and he basically said to trust the process here, but that he wasn't going to hide from them. He understood their concerns.
All right, democracy at work here at these town halls. Good for members to take questions face to face. Eva McCann, thank you very much for that.
First of all, stun guns for people who come out to a town. Charlie, your eyebrows went up. Okay, so you've had to hold a town hall. Tell me the scenario where that makes any sense.
Well, first, after Gabby Giffords was shot, I basically insisted that we always have a police presence in any noticed public event we would do. So I'm not at all surprised there are the police officers there. But I am shocked that police actually had to deploy a weapon on constituents, you know, who were obviously, probably some of whom got out of control, I suspect, and that's why they were stunned. But I guess I am not stunned by what I'm seeing across the country. This anger, it feels like 2010 with the Tea Party. It feels like 2017 with the healthcare debates. And this is where we are. There's a lot of anger in the country, and it's being directed at their members of Congress for not providing enough of a check on the executive.
Yeah, there's a couple ways to handle it. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene actually told a constituent who was speaking out that they were being brainwashed.
Why is MTG supporting Musk and Doge and the slashing of Medicaid, Social Security offices, libraries, and more? This is outrageous from Sarah. Well, Sarah, unfortunately, you're being brainwashed by the news that you're watching. And, you know, a lot of Democrats pride themselves on being educated, and I suggest they educate themselves better.
How does it go when you tell the people who came out to vote for you that maybe they're just not very bright or haven't watched the right news?
So first of all, kudos to Chuck Grassley at 90, holding a town hall.
Oh, in the midst of his like 99 county run that he does annually.
Yeah, no. So just like want to just
props
to that. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is part of like a general Republican talking point that a lot of these people who are protesting are Democrats. There's been
activists or paid activists,
and then activists or paid activists. They don't see them as constituents. So the dismissiveness is part of that. The general ethos that they don't feel like they have to answer to that particular group of people. I would say that they do that at their peril. I think there's been a robust reporting that this is not actually paid activists. Sometimes not even Democrats. But you know, there are Democrats, and they are part of your constituency, and they are entitled to show up at a town hall meeting should you hold one. And so what I think you're seeing is a lot of grassroots anger, as Charlie was saying, like 2010, like 2017. Where it's going to take the Democratic Party and how it's going to affect the Republicans remains to be seen.
Yes,
but we are seeing a lot of energy.